Happy Tuesday. We are back with some more Murdoch stuff. We're going to be talking Buster Murdoch. The whole connection with the Stephen Smith case. Got some videos to watch. I want to thank everybody for all the links and stuff. Got so many. And Phantom, I can't wait to check out that link about the Idaho Force stuff. We'll be getting into that in the next show. I'll have tomorrow night off. Going to be helping Punksy, and then we'll be back on the show Thursday. So Thursday, I'll probably, I don't know if we're going to do Delphi first, then Idaho for Friday, or if we're going to do Idaho first and then Delphi, but we're going to be hitting up both of those before the weekend is over. I'm excited to get into this one tonight. Don't know very much at all. Was checking out a little bit today at work, and man, this is a crazy case too. I was kind of going through everything. The level of corruption on this case is ridiculous. And I have a lot of questions with this one too, so it's going to be interesting. Thank you, everybody, for hopping in. Good evening, Kib Kitty, Cassie. Thank you. I appreciate that. Phantom, what's up? Liberty, beautiful baby. Aw. Such a cutie. Baby Liberty. Long time no see. Hey. What's up, Pam? Yes, thank you for listening to the replay. And always thank you for your beautiful comments on the videos. I appreciate that. Everybody, I had such a blast last night. I want to thank everybody that hopped up last night. Truly appreciate you. It was so much fun last night. I'd definitely like to have more shows like that in the future. That was fun. And we could do it again tonight if you'd like to. You're more than welcome to hop up. Kind of fill me in on this case. Pretty interesting stuff. I'm going to be checking it out. Pretty much brand new. It's one of the biggest questions I always had whenever we watched all these connections to the Murdaugh family, you know, the unalivings and passings. And this was always one I was just very confused by. I didn't know what the connections were. Last night, everybody's like, Buster's next. I'm like, what? Yeah, then I started checking this out. Yes, Punksy, can't wait. I'm excited to give you a hand, help you out. We'll get you all hooked up and set up and rolling and good to go. I'm excited for you. What's up, SRB? Dre? Yeah. It is corrupt. I couldn't believe it. Like, I could not believe. Like, I thought the other ones were crazy. I was like, whoa, this one's really crazy. And it sounds like it's going to be heating up again. Well, kind of. I think it was about a year ago. They reopened the case and then there's nothing that's been happening since, I think. What's that, Pam? Yes, it's going to be so cool. I can't wait for Punksy. I'm excited. Excited for you, Punksy. Let me see here. Let me make sure my call-in line is ring-a-ding-dinging. Always got to double check that because this thing is buggy. All right, we're working. We're working on the live call-in. Let me throw my banners up there real quick. Kaboom. 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 All right. All right, all right, all right. That's going to be neat. Once you start as... Still active. Yep. They reopened it, I think it's about a year ago. I don't know. It's kind of interesting, though. Now, I could be wrong because, I just started looking into it, but it almost seems like the mom isn't really... Even though she's frustrated that things are going the way that they're going, I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking too soon, but it almost seems like she's not... At this point, she was like, I'm not going to give the Ellie new information that I have, this and that, because she's upset with how they're... But still, I would think, wouldn't you want to give them the information anyway? I don't know. Yes, it's going to be so cool. I'm excited for Punksy. But yeah, and then this test kit, I can't say too much because of the R word, but the R kit that was done on a person that supposedly passed from a hit and run, I do not understand that either. The word starts with R, ends with E. It's a 4-letter word, and it's a R, blah, 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 kit. And that was performed on Stephen Smith, although it was labeled as a hit and run. Big questions. So let me throw out that panel link. If anybody would like to hop up, you're more than welcome. I got a couple videos we're going to check out real quick just to kind of get a little bit of a background. And then we're going to go ahead and get into discussing the topic. I got a bunch of... Thank you, Kib Kitty. I got like 4 or 5 articles we got. I got some videos from SRB, Pam. Appreciate it. And let me see here. So this is the first video, Law and Crime Network. I'm going to pull up the link to their YouTube. And this video is titled Murdaugh Murders and Mysterious Death of Stephen Smith. What is the connection? That's exactly what the title of this video is. Connection? Kevin Kraft, what's up? Grape? There you go. Rhymes with tape. We'll call it grape tape. Grape tape kit. There we go. Grape tape kit. Good stuff. Thank you. What's up, Kevin Kraft? I don't know what you put up there. StreamYard ain't showing it. But what's up, buddy? Know you're working tonight. Thanks for hopping in last night. I appreciate you. All right. Law and Crime Network. This is the first video we're going to check out. Dang it. Now I got to go to YouTube and see what emoji's being used here. I don't... Ninja. I got you. I don't know why StreamYard doesn't transfer those comments. I don't get that whole thing. But whatever. What's up, Grismatically? How you doing tonight? I missed you last night, man. I was getting ganged up on. Oh, I was getting ganged up on last night. I'm like, where's Grizz at? Where the fuck's he at? Where's he at? I need some damn support. Mama Bear gave me a little support. But I'm like, damn, where's Grizz? All right, this is the first video here. Yeah, everybody was nice. Grizz knows what I'm talking about. He knows what I'm talking about. All right, let's get into this video. Murdaugh murders and mysterious death of Stephen Smith. What's the connection? 25-minute video. Probably watch most of it. So let's sit back, enjoy this little video here we got here. And what's up, Kid Kitty? You were just outnumbered. Poker night.
Video here we got here.
Oh, I can hear me.
Hey.
That's why I was muted almost. Hey,
sorry,
what's up?
I had my sound on my laptop too. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. It reminded me of like a radio station. You got to turn down the radio. What's up?
Oh no. Got yard work done today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 83.
Wow. It was chilly here. I decided to take a nap. I was freaking tired.
Again.
Yeah, I'm tired. Yeah, I woke
Grace
up.
Get 8 to 10 inches of snow this week.
More snow for Dre?
Yep.
Jeez. Oh, I got your message that you're getting your merch stuff soon.
Oh yeah. I got a notification today. It'll be here between tomorrow and the 12th.
Tomorrow and the 12th. What's tomorrow? The
8th. The 8th.
Oh, the 8th.
Yep.
Oh, that's not bad.
A week sooner than they told me at first.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know it said some stuff comes from the United States and some stuff overseas. I'm not sure which is which, but
well, it said it's sending it from East Lake, Ohio.
East Lake, Ohio.
Ohio.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's made in Ohio. Yeah, I still need to. I need to order me a hat so I can wear that hat from now on.
Which one?
Oh, did you get your stuff already, SRB? I don't know which hat yet.
Huh.
I'm thinking the trucker hat. I might go with the trucker hat. I don't know yet. I'm still trying to decide.
I might get a couple more hats. I'm not sure.
Yeah, just if you guys want something, just get a hold of me. Get a hold of me and we can make it customized for you like we did if you go on the store and see the Kid Kitty and Dre editions that we have for the customized. Can give you whatever color combination you want. Just message me or get with me or whatever, and we can make sure that you get whatever item you specifically want. We'll make it customized for you so it's specifically for you. Whatever colors you want, however you want them placed, and then you can go ahead and put the order in. Yes, SRB. Reach out to me about that. I wanted to talk to you about that too. After the show or tomorrow. So yeah, this is I'm not sure who sent me this. Murdaugh mysterious death of Stephen Smith. What's the connection?
I think I sent that.
Yeah, it is a little lengthy, but you know what? That's okay because it's a 3.5 hour show tonight, so we got plenty of time to check out some of that stuff. Plus, it'll give other people some time to hop up on panel if they'd like to as well. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and start this off. I listened to a little bit of a connection today. I only got to listen to about 20 minutes. It was really hard today while I was at work trying to listen to it, but a lot of crazy stuff already, like the blood trails, where he was found, how it took place. If anybody has, I guess there's a best friend of his that was kind of giving up some information. If anybody has any links to any videos with this best friend, if you can send them to me. Do you know the name of the friend?
No.
The female? There's a female best friend of his that basically was saying that they needed to look at Buster. They needed to look at Buster, Paul, and some other friend, and that something about Steven was gonna come out and tell
About
people.
Buster.
Yeah, tell people about Buster and him, and that's when all this took place. So there's some
I can
female best
probably,
friend out there.
yeah, I can probably find it. I saw it on Murdoch Murders podcast with Mandy Mantley.
Okay.
I watched. She had 80 episodes from the beginning 3 years ago,
80 episodes.
and yeah, I watched every single one.
80?
It took me 2 days.
What
Yes.
the fuck? 80 episodes?
Yeah, she's a journalist from Fitz News,
Huh.
but she's been investigating the Murdaws for 3 years, the last 3 years. She's got some really good episodes.
Who is
I'll
that
look and
again?
see if I can find it.
Murdaugh
Mandy
Murders?
Murdaugh Murders podcast.
Murdaugh Murders
Murder
podcast.
podcast.
Okay. So she's covered a lot of it, huh?
Oh, she's covered a lot.
What is she? She's a journalist? No
She's a
relationship
journalist.
advice, Grizzly. She's a journalist. Huh. For
She was a journalist for Fitz News.
Fitz News? Never heard of it. Where's that at?
It's a news station in South Carolina or somewhere in the South here. But she
Interesting.
went on to doing podcasts now.
Was her
But
name
she does a
Josie?
lot of investigations.
Really? Wow, everybody's actually listening and watching. Wow, I never knew about her. Okay, well, I'll have to check her out tomorrow while I'm at work. Murdaugh Murders podcast, right?
I might have sent you one link from her.
There's a YouTube channel for
Today.
Fitz News. I need to subscribe to them to see if I can. Fitz News. You sent me a link to it?
I think I sent you one link today for Murdaugh Murders podcast.
I got 5 articles. That was. I'm not sure. I had so many links and I was half asleep from waking up from my nap when I was adding it all. So it might be in there. I don't know.
It might be in there.
Yeah, I was just saving whatever you guys sent me real quick. Yeah, what's up, everybody? Yes, I watched that one too. Wow, everybody watches it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
They're pretty good.
Okay. Fitz News. I'm gonna have to see if I can find that and sub to them real quick. Fitz News. Fritz? No, not Fritz. F-I-T.
F-I-T. Yeah.
Oh, FITS News, South Carolina Independent Media. Okay, here we go. Subscribe. Alex Murdaugh, Satterfield death full interview. This was 5 hours ago. Oh, wow. Huh. Yeah, I'll have to check out that news station. Interesting. Thank you guys for the link. I appreciate you guys always hooking me up with these local news stations and stuff, because it really helps me be able to do what I need to do and show what I need to show without getting any kind of copyright slams or anything like that. So I appreciate that. All right. I'll go ahead and throw out the link to the panel here one more time, and then we'll get started on this video and see what they
Pam
say.
has a
Lauren,
question.
what's up, Pam? If I call in, will it show? No.
Her name.
If you call in, everybody will be able to hear you. Nobody will be able to see nothing. Unfortunately, I haven't figured out a way where you can hear Kib Kitty talk. The only person you can hear talk is me. Nobody else on panel you'll be able to hear. I think I have to download another program to be able to capture all of that to then transfer it into the phone calls. So that's the only thing that I haven't been able to research and figure out how I can do that. That's one thing that's still on my list. I have not been able to get to yet. So
Thank
that's the
you,
only thing.
SRB. Sorry.
Oh, they're good. That's the only unfortunate thing about the live call-in. If you'd like to join the panel, you're more than welcome to do that too. You can just turn off the cam when you come in, and nobody will even see you. You could do that as well if you'd like. If you are in the panel, then you can hear everything. You can hear what we're playing in the background, all of that stuff. Just with the live call, it's basically the live call only, nothing playing. Because I have to screen share the actual Google Voice, even though I have a cover for it, I have to screen share it so the audio goes through. So it's really it's kind of a tricky thing. I still have to figure out a way that I think once I get this soundboard, I'll be able to just have it go to my phone, and then my phone can be directed into the soundboard, and then I think everything will work that way. I don't know for sure though. It's just a new feature I added a few weeks ago, so I'm still learning with that too.
It won't show her face or anything if she clicks that camera off.
No, yeah, on an open panel, yeah, you just have the camera turned off and it won't show your face or anything. It'll show like a P for Pam or something like that, or you can put up any kind of avatar picture you would like to have. Like Kib Kitty has her poker chip and I have my face on here. You can do that as well. Oh, I'm sorry.
Tell Pam it's okay. I was the same way.
Yeah, everybody is. It's nervous at first, but really after a bit, you just feel like you're sitting there talking to friends on your telephone. Most people use their telephone for the panel.
It's really not that bad.
Yeah, just let me know whichever you'd like to do, and then I can go ahead and make sure we do that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hit play on this video, and let me see here. Lawn crime. Yeah. Oops. That's the panel link. 1 second. I got to get the YouTube link again here. Yeah, just let me know, Pam.
Alec Murdoch. Mysterious 2015 death of 19-year-old Stephen Smith. We then talk to Suzanne Andrews, the founder of Standing for Stephen. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. So as many of you know, we've been covering the Alec Murdoch trial here at Law and Crime. The once prominent South Carolina attorney is on trial for the murders of his wife and son, Maggie Murdoch and Paul Murdoch. They were found shot to death on their family property on June 7th, 2021. Defense says he didn't do it. Prosecution's evidence is flimsy. And we've been doing a very deep dive on all of the evidence that's been presented. Did Alec Murdoch murder his wife and son? Was it somebody else? Why did this happen? All these questions are eventually going to have to be decided by the jury. Thankfully, not us. We just analyze it. Not an easy question for the jury. And with pretty much every murder, there are, of course, theories and rumors on how the murder happened or who's responsible, how it was carried out. We're seeing it here. So one theory is that Alec murdered his wife and son, right? Well, another theory is one that Alec actually suggested to police in his interview on the night of the murders.
Have y'all been having any problems out here? Trespassers, people breaking in?
None that I know of. The only thing that what comes to my mind is my son Paul was in a boat wreck a couple years ago, and there's been he was charged with being arrested for being the driver. There's been a lot of negative publicity about that, and there's been a lot of people online just really vile stuff. But when Paul's out and about, I mean, people routinely, I don't think I know the full story, so I don't think they give it to me, but I mean, he's been punched and hit and just attacked a lot. So, but I mean, nothing like this.
Yeah. Any one person in particular or group of people
I don't know.
that you could think of?
It's not that I know, no, sir.
As you see there, Alec suggests that someone may have had a vendetta against Paul because he was criminally charged for allegedly driving a boat drunk back in 2021 that resulted in the death of teenager Mallory Beach. In other words, there were unknown assailants that may have came to kill Paul. Maggie was a witness, and they ended up shooting and killing her as well. Now, while that's not entirely clear, what is clear, and what you may have noticed, is that death seems to follow the Murdaughs. Paul and Maggie are shot and killed. Paul was allegedly driving the boat that crashed and ended up killing Mallory Beach. Their family housekeeper, Gloria Satterfield, slips and falls to her death in their home, but that's a story for a whole nother time. And then there is another story that we have barely touched upon, but it is important to discuss. And that is the death of 19-year-old Stephen Smith. So now let's go back 7.5 years ago. It's July 8th, 2015, and the police receive a 911 call from a man who found an unconscious person in the middle of a sandy run road in Hampton, South Carolina. And it was revealed that that person was Stephen Smith. And he was not unconscious, he was dead. Now, the case was ruled a hit and run by investigators. After all, his body was found in the middle of the road. He was bleeding from his head. But here is where it gets interesting. There were no visible signs that he had been hit by a car. There was no bumper, glass, no fragments, nothing from part of a car anywhere to be found around the scene. Now, with Stephen's body, he had severe head trauma, only very few scratches on his arms, his legs. His shoes were still on. Blood was only found right next to his body, not along the road. Now, of course, this is pure speculation, but an obvious question.
And another thing I wanted to mention about the shoes, his shoestrings were loosely tightened as well. So if he really was hit by a vehicle, his shoes would have flew off his feet.
For sure.
Right next to his body, not along the road. Now, of course, this is pure speculation, but an obvious question would be, if this was a hit and run, do you think that there would be more damage? There would be more physical evidence? But the sheriff's department and the coroner were already on the scene and determined it was a hit and run. Now, the Highway Patrol, specifically a division that specializes in car wrecks, had a different take. Highway Patrol Officer D.B. Rowell scanned the scene and stated, quote, "I saw no vehicle debris, skid marks, or injuries consistent with someone being struck by a vehicle." He wrote this in his original incident report dated July 8th, 2015. The victim's shoes were loosely tied and both were still on. We see no evidence to suggest the victim was struck by a vehicle.
Okay, reporting officer. Now, I just assume that that's the person that showed up to the scene.
That's the state highway patrol guy.
So, is he the one that first showed up at the scene, or is he the one that handles the media part of it?
That I'm not sure. I think he was. I believe they had SLED there. They have two different departments. One handles car accident, one handles death, or murders and stuff like that, I think. Am I right, SRB? I can't remember.
I'm just wondering, because this is what I'm wondering here. This statement can mean two different things depending on which person I'm asking about. If it's the person that showed up on the scene first and this is what they're reporting, that's major shit. if this is what's being reported from a person that deals with the media, they're probably getting the information handed down to them, and then it takes on a different meaning of these words. So I'm just curious.
No, this guy actually showed up on the scene when they called 911.
So these words are from his own opinions
Yes.
and theories of what he registered in his head, not what somebody else was telling him he needed to report.
Right. Right. And he disagreed with the coroner. The coroner ruled it a hit and run.
Okay.
And he disagrees.
So let me DB Rowell. Yeah, it could be two different meanings depending on which. So that's interesting. Okay, I'm going to just back that up just a second and then have it start from the beginning of his statement again. I just wanted to ask that real quick. Hey, 18S, how are you doing tonight?
Now, the Highway Patrol, specifically a division that specializes in car wrecks, had a different take. Highway Patrol Officer D.B. Rowell scanned the scene and stated, quote, "I saw no vehicle debris, skid marks, or injuries consistent with someone being struck by a vehicle." Wrote this in his original incident report dated July 8th, 2015. The victim's shoes were loosely tied and both were still on. We see no evidence to suggest the victim was struck by a vehicle. The department claimed it was a hit and run, but the South Carolina Highway Patrol believed that this was the scene of a murder. You don't see that every day, that difference of opinion, but there is a lot more. Stephen's car was found 3 miles away from his body. The car was found broken down.
3 miles.
Gas cap was off. So one logical conclusion would be, well, maybe Stephen ran out of gas and was walking down the road to go to the nearest gas station to get gas. Well, does that make sense? Well, one, he was walking in the opposite direction of the closest gas station. And two, he left his wallet in the car. Also, his phone was found on his body with battery life. So the question is, why not call someone to pick you up?
His phone was found where? Hold on.
In his back pocket.
This is okay. So his car. Let me get this straight again. I need to rewind this for a second. So his phone was in his back pocket, 3 miles from the Murdaws. Whoa. Yeah, this is when I don't know much about this one, ATS, and I just kind of checked it out a little bit, and this shit is wild. This shit is wild.
And if he's going to get gasoline, why would he leave his wallet in his car?
Right. Yeah, because most of the time you need your wallet, number one, to pay for the gas, and number two, you got to give them your driver's license in exchange for the gas tank so they know you'll bring it back.
Right.
Or no.
And his phone was working in his pocket. It was active.
Too bad that phone didn't take a video.
Right.
That'd be interesting. All right, I need to hear all this again. This is crazy. So the car was in the other direction, such and such.
You don't see that.
I wasn't sure if I heard right. Did he say 3 miles? I rewound it here, so it might.
He was 3 miles from his car.
3 miles from the car. Okay.
Yeah.
Every day, that difference of opinion. But there is a lot more. Stephen's car was found 3 miles away from his body.
Okay, so I'm just going to kind of slowly do this here. Stephen's car found 3 miles from body. All right.
The car was found broken down. The gas cap was off.
Broken down, gas cap off. Gas cap off, wallet inside.
So one logical conclusion would be, well, maybe Stephen ran out of gas and was walking down the road to go to the nearest gas station to get gas. Well, does that make sense? Well, one, he was walking in the opposite direction of the closest gas station.
Huh.
2, he left his wallet in the car. Also, his phone was found on his body with battery life. So the question is, why not call someone to pick you up?
So he didn't. Did they go through his phone records? Obviously, they did. What'd they find out with phone records? Did he call somebody before? Or... What's up?
What?
With the phone records, did he call somebody before? Do you know anything about the phone records?
I haven't heard if they went through the phone records. I would have to watch that podcast thing.
In my opinion, he was running. It's weird. His car's broke down. It's one thing if his car was left on the side of the road, you know. But the fact that it was broke down, that's just weird to me. Because then that would have to be a humongous coincidence, no? Like your car actually breaks down and then that's a huge coincidence. I never heard anything. Go ahead.
I'm speculating, but I'm thinking he called Buster for help with his car or something.
Well, yeah,
But
that's what I'm asking about the
speculation.
phone records. I'm wondering, who we called. Because if your car breaks down and you're getting out of your vehicle, I imagine you're calling somebody. Or
I would
texting,
imagine.
or messaging somebody. Something. I don't know. Maybe once we get more into this, we'll learn more about it.
Well, like I said, I'll look into that podcast thing on
Yeah, that's
Stephen
fine.
Smith that they have, and then I'll send that to you.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, just give me a timestamp if you find out where it's at. Then I can go right to it and hear about it. They might talk about it in this, so we'll see.
Why not call someone to pick you up? Let's also go back to Stephen's body. The main cause of his death was blunt force trauma to the head. And as I said, it was ruled a hit and run. And that was backed up by pathologist Dr. Erin Presnell, who said she believed the injuries were consistent with being hit by a car. However, investigators asked Presnell if Smith could have suffered the head wound from being hit by someone with a baseball bat. She said no.
What?
But when investigators asked if Smith could have been hit in the head from being struck by a bat or another object that was held by someone in a moving vehicle, she said, quote, "Well, I guess that's possible. So was it a hit and run or not?" Now you might be saying, what does all of this have to do with Alec Murdaugh? Well, the Highway Patrol continues to investigate the case. Stephen's car, though, was never dusted or tested for fingerprints or DNA because Stephen's death, as I said, was ruled a hit and run. The Highway Patrol tries asking people around Hampton County about Stephen. Many people won't talk about it. They seem to be shy to be talking about it. At least that's what the reports indicate. And eventually they speak to Stephen's mother, Sandy Smith. And she says that the rumor she keeps hearing, and let me emphasize that this is just a rumor, is that it was the Murdaugh boys who are responsible for Stephen's death.
Yeah, I heard SRB and Pam. I heard just in the little bit that I researched today that Buster, Paul, and one of their friends basically, yeah. In what I checked out today earlier, I guess the Murdaugh family had an actual poll with the local LE, local politicians, and they were pretty much able to, puppet strings. So if something came in their direction, they were able to get it squashed. Even though they shouldn't have been able to, they were able to get shit squashed. and to the point where the community members were so afraid of even going to speak up against them as a witness. It would reach that far to where their pull and their fear that they, this intimidation that they spread throughout this whole area, nobody would even mention anything associated with their names, would tell anybody, it was crazy. Yeah, they
Oh
ran the
yeah,
county. And
absolutely.
from what I checked out, it wasn't just this generation, it was the generation before, the generation before, and the generation before that they were running things in this county. So this was something that is multi-generation. So this shit goes deep.
Yes.
So it was probably implanted in the back of their kids' heads and the other kids' heads, and it just kind of ran down as the years went on, and they just became more of a force and a fist in that community.
People were afraid of the Murdaghs, put it
Mhm.
that way.
And that's probably what he was just, speaking of, the fact that people won't even talk, even though the way it appears, the way it does, and it's obvious what's taking place, nobody's saying nothing. 2 states that don't have hate crimes, SC, and that's crazy. Wow. Interesting fact, Pam. Thank you.
The case. Stephen's car, though, was never dusted or tested for fingerprints or DNA because Stephen's death, as I said, was ruled a hit and run. The Highway Patrol tries asking people around Hampton County about Stephen. Many people won't talk about it. They seem to be shy to be talking about it. At least that's what reports indicate. And eventually they speak to Stephen's mother, Sandy Smith. And she says that the rumor she keeps hearing, and let me emphasize that this is just a rumor, is that it was the Murdaugh boys who are responsible for Stephen's death. And after many interviews, more than a dozen people brought up the name Buster Murdaugh. Buster is Paul's older brother and Alec's oldest son. In fact, this is Alec talking a little bit more about Buster when he is interviewed during the course of the Paul and Maggie murder investigation.
Do you have any other children?
I do. I have a 24-year-old.
That's right, you said. What's his name?
Buster. Well, Richard Alexander Jr.
Okay. He goes by Buster.
He goes by Buster.
Is he here tonight?
He's on his way.
Okay.
I know that I talked to Buster. So I made a few phone calls.
Okay.
And
Where was Buster?
Buster was in Rock Hill.
Okay. Is that where he lives, or?
No, he lives in Columbia, but he just started a new job. He's going back to school in January.
Okay.
So he's working a little part-time job with Wild Wings through January.
Gotcha.
Just kind of killing time. And he was in, his girlfriend lives in Rock Hill. She's studying for the bar exam. So he had to be in Charlotte. So he was staying with her in Rock Hill, her and her mom.
Okay.
Now, there's something else I have to mention about Stephen Smith, and that is that Stephen Smith was openly gay. And according to Stephen's mother, Stephen was supposed to go on a fishing trip with a prominent person. One of Stephen's friends said that he told him that he was messing around with a man from Hampton County, and if he had mentioned the name, people would be shocked. So again, pure speculation. But one of the rumors that has circulated is that Stephen was in a relationship with Buster Murdaugh. But again, no evidence to show that conclusively. And look, the problem is that all of the interviews with people from around Hampton County, they all had several different versions of rumors of what they heard had happened. So law enforcement had no evidence, nowhere to point the finger. Buster was never interviewed. No one has been charged for the death of Stephen Smith. And as you can imagine, Stephen's family has been devastated by his death. In fact, exactly 3 months after Stephen's death, his father, Joel, dies of a heart attack in his sleep. And some have said that he died of heartbreak. And let me add this.
Wow.
In HBO's documentary Low Country, The Murdaugh Dynasty, A man named George Smith, who is a friend of Stephen's father, Joel, claims that he talked to Joel on his last day alive and told him, "The Murdochs killed my son because he was gay. I know my son. I know he was seeing Buster."
Wow.
Now, let me close this all out with the most curious
Wow.
aspect of this case that ties back to the Murdochs.
Wow.
And that is that the morning Stephen's body is found, Stephen's dad, Joel, goes down to the sheriff's department. Before Joel even gets to speak to the sheriff, he receives a call from Alec Murdoch's brother, Randy Murdoch. Randy offers to investigate the case. He tells Joel that he wanted the password to all of Stephen's electronics and social media
Whoa.
accounts. And he tells Joel that
Exactly.
he would represent him for free.
Wow.
Then, Stephen's mother, Sandy, reportedly claims to have seen Alec and Randy at the crime scene about an hour after the body is moved. Why is this happening? Why are they there? What does the supposed hit and run of a teenage boy have anything to do with the Murdochs? In fact, Alec Murdoch's law firm is mainly a personal injury firm. So why are they willing to help Stephen Smith's family with a death investigation?
Just give me all the
The only
passwords.
question I'm asking, and I'm sure many of you are asking as
Right.
well, is are the Murdochs
What the
trying to cover something up? And if
What
so,
the fuck?
why? As I mentioned, no one has been charged in connection with Stephen's death. But fast forward to June 22nd, 2021, just 2 weeks after Maggie and Paul's murders, Stephen Smith's case is reopened. Now, there's no new news of new evidence or anything like that, but the case is reopened. We believe this is in the hands of SLED, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, again, just 2 weeks after Maggie and Paul are killed. And that is very interesting.
Huh.
So as we continue our discussion of the death of 19-year-old Stephen Smith, who was found dead on the road in South Carolina, and the potential connection to the Murdoch family, we want to bring in a special guest. Joining me right now is the founder of Standing for Stephen, Suzanne Andrews. Suzanne, it is a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming here on Sidebar. and talking a
Standing
little
for
bit more about the
Stephen?
story.
Thank you. The pleasure's mine. Thank you so very
Yeah,
much.
cover up for sure
I'd
from
like
the
to start
get-go.
off with you telling everybody what is Standing for Stephen, how did you become a part of this, and why did you start the foundation?
After the murders of Maggie and Paul, there were a bunch of Facebook pages popping up about the Murdoch murders, and
Okay.
Ashley Gandy, someone I did not know at the time, had posted a picture of Stephen's gravesite, and he did not have a headstone. It was just a plastic placard with his
Oh,
name, year of birth, and year of
wow.
death, and this
No
little
way.
ceramic cat. And as a mother of
Wow.
an 18-year-old, it broke my heart.
Yeah.
At that time it had been 6 years that no one had helped his family get a headstone.
Wow.
So I was just led, for whatever reason, to try to get in touch with his mother, Sandy, to
That's
get her
so
permission
awesome.
to raise money.
That's so
I thought if
awesome.
we could do $2,000, that would be gravy. We've raised over $40,000. We
Wow.
got Stephen a headstone, as well as his father, who is buried next to him.
Oh, wow.
That I did not know at the time had passed 3 months after Stephen from a broken heart.
Oh.
So
Bravo to
Isn't that
her.
sweet?
accomplished our goal.
Yeah,
yes.
bravo to her.
So it's been an amazing
I
journey.
have
A
goosebumps.
plastic frickin'
That's a remarkable mission, a remarkable goal that you did. Congratulations on that. Hopefully,
Yeah.
as we share a little bit more of your story and
That's awesome.
Stephen's story, maybe that can grow. Did you know Stephen at all? Did you learn about him at all? I mean, when we talk about Stephen Smith, I think it's important for people to understand the most we can about who he was.
Sure. No, I had never met him or his family. The first time I met his mother, Miss Sandy, was at Stephen's gravesite. But from what I know, Stephen was a ham. He was funny. He was loving. He was giving, kind. He was just a good kid all the way around. He was in nursing school. He wanted to become a doctor. He knew his parents couldn't afford to send him to medical school, so he started out in nursing so that he could send himself to medical school. He had so many friends that he supported and loved, and they loved and supported him back. He was just a good kid.
Yeah, and it's tragic to think about what happened and the mystery surrounding his death. And I do want to get into that a little bit. So it's my understanding, Stephen was openly gay. Many people believe that he was killed because of that. As a matter of fact, the Smith family attorney, Mike Hemlap, believes that Stephen was killed because he was homosexual.
We don't know. I know what you're thinking. You're going, Mike, come on. You don't know what happened to Stephen. You don't know why he died. But here's what I'm here to tell you today. There are 28,000 gay teenagers in South Carolina who know exactly why he died. And I'm going to tell you, I know exactly why he died. There's been a bill in the legislature to pass hate crime legislation, and the legislature is ready to do it. They're happy to do it when it comes to race, religion, gender. You know what they don't want to do? They don't want to include the 28,000 LGBT teens in South Carolina. That's why
I love you.
Now, I understand that you are currently trying to get a hate crime bill passed in the state of South Carolina. What can you tell us about that?
Well, South Carolina, I've just recently found this out in the past year or so, is one of two states in this nation that does not have a hate crime bill. South Carolina and Wyoming are the only two. The House of Representatives passed a hate crime bill through, but our senators are holding it up. They have they have this mental capacity that, there's already federal laws in place for hate crime. Why do we need state level? Well, why would we not? All the other states have it. We're marching in the opposite direction than all the other states. And, to me, it's more of a preventative measure than conviction type situation. Hopefully it would be a preventative measure to keep people from doing that. My father owns the Capitol Club here in Columbia, South Carolina, which is where we had Stephen's fundraiser, and it's a private gay club that's been around for over 40 years. It's not just about gays. It's about Blacks, Jews, Catholics, white folks. There are hate crimes against white people just as well. It's not just about gay people.
And trust me, I see it a lot in my day and back and forth, and we see crimes about this all the time. I want to just pick up on something that you said. So when I mentioned that there's a belief that Stephen was killed because he was homosexual, I heard you say yes. Now, I'm curious because I should tell you, and I will tell all our listeners, right now this is rumors and speculation. There hasn't been direct evidence. What leads you to believe Stephen was killed because of his sexuality?
I have to be careful with what I say. Just there is an open investigation. I would do nothing to hinder that investigation. I really don't know how to answer that question.
Well, let me ask you this then. So we know that Paul and Maggie are murdered, and then 2 weeks later, Stephen's case is reopened all this time later. That can't be a coincidence. I mean, what's your feeling about that?
I don't think it's a coincidence. What that information is, I truly do not know. But I do believe that there was good reason. For them to reopen it, and I'm
2 weeks
that it's going to get solved sooner rather than later. And his family deserves answers. And with this hate crime bill, I've started a petition on change.org, and it's standing for Stephen. Hold on, I wrote it down. Standing for Stephen SC hate crime bill. If my thought is, this is kind of part 2 of Standing for Stephen, where I started it to raise money for a headstone, is which I pray Miss Sandy and the family gets answers, but if God forbid they don't, at least maybe we can get this bill passed in Stephen's honor as an advocate for the state of South Carolina.
There you go.
Somehow honored for him and his family to get this bill passed.
There you go.
And look, it's such an odd case and a strange case and an unanswered question and an unanswered case.
I didn't either, ATS.
And look, the reason reason I just explained it a little. There's a difference in opinion about what actually happened to him, right? So the initial ruling and the ruling that has been is that it was a hit and run, but there's evidence to suggest it was something more than that. What makes you believe this was not a simple hit and run? And let me ask you this: why do you think, if you can, why do you think there was such a I don't know judgment, but there was a conclusion to determine this a hit and run?
Well, initially, regardless, it's a murder. Even at the bare minimum, I'm not saying this is the case, but at the bare minimum, somebody accidentally hit him, which is highly unlikely. They still killed him and they left the scene. It is still a murder, no matter how you look at it. As far as the hit and run, I personally do not believe that. I may be wrong, but the pictures show, his crime scene pictures show his cell phone. There was not a crack on the cell phone screen. His shoes were still on him, not tied. There was no fragments of plastic, glass. There was nothing in the middle of the road to suggest there was an impact with a vehicle, other than he was found in the middle of the road.
And I went through it, why the Murdaughs have been kind of tied to this. What should we know about them? What should we know about their feeling in the community, and what, were they feared in Hampton County at all? I mean, what was it about them?
Yeah, I personally do not know the Murdaughs. I have some very close friends. I live in Columbia. I have some very close friends that know them. I know the Murdaughs are the story, that the press is wanting. To me, this is about Stephen. It doesn't matter whose name is attached to what happened to him, whether it's the Murdaughs or Joe Blow. The family just deserves answers. But to answer your question, oh yes, they were feared and very powerful. And people that are not from the South do not understand the web and the connections, and everyone knows everyone. Judges, attorneys that are in front of judges on Friday are sitting in Sunday school with that same judge on Sunday. I mean, it is just such a small knit community, and scary for a lot of people, especially people from lower economic statuses that don't feel like they have a voice. And if they do try to speak, they're not going to be listened to, or they're going to be shunned, or it's social suicide for them.
And before I let you go, obviously the trial right now of Alec Murdaugh is happening. Have you been following it? Do you want an outcome, or are you anticipating an outcome might somehow be connected to Stephen in the end? Because look, all eyes are on Alec Murdaugh, and people are learning everything about the Murdaughs right now.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the $1 million question, or maybe the $10 million question or more. But I honestly don't know. Nothing at this point would surprise me with this trial. Nothing. But if I could just ask anyone in the state of South Carolina, I have this petition going online, change.org, for Standing for Stephen, hate crime bill. Please, we need as many signatures as possible so that our senators can no longer not listen to us anymore. Please go to your local House representatives, your senators, beg for this to be pushed through. Not just about the hate crime bill and just about Standing for Stephen. It's about us as people.
I agree with you. And look, Suzanne, what we're going to do is we're going to pin some of those links as well for people to have easy access to it, and for people to learn more about your organization as well. You're doing terrific work. I appreciate you taking the time to come on Sidebar and speak a little bit more about Stephen Smith.
Well, thank y'all for having me and letting Standing for Stephen speak out. So I appreciate it very, very much.
And that's all we have for you here on Sidebar.
And I'm going to go ahead and put those links up here in the chat for you guys. Let me see here. Sign the hate crime bill. So this is the link to sign the hate crime bill. And this is the tab right here that I'm going to be sending to you. If you wanted to have this link, I'll be sending out a few links here. So this is the
And-
hate crime bill for South Carolina in memory of Stephen Smith, standing for Stephen.
I'll have to sign it. I haven't signed it yet, SRB.
Oh, shoot. Whoops.
SRB, isn't it true that Alex lawyer Dick Harpootlian is a senator? I believe I heard that in court from someone.
This is the link for Standing for Stephen Facebook group. Yeah, I got a couple more videos. We can get it. Oh, did it give the whole link in YouTube for the hate bill? Sign the hate bill, or did it split the link up? Good evening, Roxanne. How are you doing tonight? Thanks for hopping in.
Welcome, Roxanne.
Let me see. The next link I'm going to put out is the guest, Susan Andrews. What I just want to say again, what a amazing job she did raising $40,000 so she could get headstones not only for Stephen but his father as well. That's awesome.
It is. It really is.
This is the link for Susan Andrews. Facebook. All right, there's that. And let me see here. And then Twitter. I definitely want to follow her on Twitter. And I'll put that link here in the chat as well. Let me see here. And follow. What an amazing job.
Yep.
All right. So there, I think I got all the links from that. Let me see. We got the Standing for Stephen Facebook group, Standing for Stephen hate crime bill for South Carolina, and then the two links for Susan Andrews. And all right, let me see here. 1 second. I'm just kind of making sure I got everything.
Punksy said his phone number kept popping up.
What'd she say?
Oh, never mind. Never
My
mind.
phone number kept popping up. Oh, your message. Oh, you're good. No, you're good. All right, there we go. And I'm going to go ahead and retweet this too. Only three retweets. That's it. Are you serious? From February 1st? This needs retweeted. So you can retweet that? Or hell. And then if you want to follow me on Twitter, here's my link. Yeah, that needs retweeted. Only 4 of them with me included. That's crazy. All right. So I got a couple other videos here. The one talking about SLED making progress on investigation into Stephen Smith's death. This was a month ago. It is very interesting that the case was reopened 2 weeks after Maggie and Paul were unalived.
I have a feeling like
can hear me in the
SRB.
background.
I have a feeling like SRB and Pam said that maybe they got something off Paul's phone.
You think so?
If they opened it up 2 weeks after the murders, that's what I'm thinking too.
From his phone?
From Paul's phone.
Really?
Maybe he had something on there about that night. I don't know.
Do you have your TV on? Kib Kitty or something?
Oh.
They hear me echoing.
I turned my laptop sound off completely. I muted it.
Okay. Is that better, SRB? Yeah, 3 miles from 3 miles from his car in the opposite direction that the nearest gas station would be. That's the very interesting part. The car was broke down, which that's very, I don't know, something seems, maybe this wasn't planned or something. I don't know. It just sounds very odd, or a humongous coincidence. The car was broke down, gas cap off. But the weird thing is like they said, his body was found 3 miles from his car in the opposite direction of the closest gas station. So he wasn't going to a gas station. I'm just curious if there's any kind of information. I mean, there has to be some kind of information out there about his phone records. If not, I guess that's just part of what seems like a cover-up from the very beginning of when this whole thing started. And I could be wrong, but I thought I heard earlier this morning when I was looking up some stuff that the person that was handling the case of Stephen Smith got some kind of $5,000 or $10,000 donation from Alec Murdaugh after the hit and run, after it was labeled a hit and run. I could be wrong, but I could have swore I heard that. Now, I don't know if this guy was up for some kind of re-election or if he was trying to get elected for a higher position or something like that. There's a lot of stuff that I haven't been able to research yet. So if anybody does have any of that information, if you could send it to me, definitely play it on the show. I feel like I heard these things this morning when I was kind of checking out some things at work, and it was hard for me to kind of hear exactly where or what or who, or even write down some of the information, but I could have swore that I heard that. And so it was somebody that was leading the case in the very beginning, and how it almost seemed like they were steering, like the first, the reporting officer stated in that video that there were no signs that this was a hit and run. And then the coroner stated that it was a hit and run, and that's when everything changed. And it almost seems like maybe the influence that they had in that county and in the community with all the politicians and the elected officials, that they were able to kind of twist it into a hit and run, and maybe certain things.
I'm sure they had a hand in it somehow.
Yeah. I'm just curious. I did hear that. I would like to be able to show that information. If anybody knows where that's at, if you could send it to me, that'd be great. So speaking of SLED, I'm going to check out this video. This came from Fox Carolina News about a month ago about SLED making progress on the investigation. So who knows? I want to hear. Maybe they and then there's a Banfield episode after that from a month ago about it reopening as well. So maybe we'll find some little tidbits of information in these. And thank you everybody for hanging out. Yeah, no kidding, Pam. Give me all the passwords, right?
The side of the road in the Low Country. SLED reopened the case into his death shortly after the murders of Maggie and Paul Murdaugh.
The agency says they're, quote, making progress. The case remains active in Hampton County.
Somebody out there knows something.
It's July 8th, 2015. A driver on his way to work calls 911 to report a body lying in the middle of the street on Sandy Run Road. The victim turns out to be 19-year-old Stephen Smith, a shy teen, but a funny and outgoing one to his inner circle. Smith was openly gay in the small rural South Carolina town he grew up in.
One of my favorite quotes that he had said to his mom was, "God doesn't make mistakes. I am who I am, and God did not make a mistake."
The blunt force trauma to his head appears as a possible gunshot wound to the first responders on the scene, but the coroner's office later rules his death a hit and run. He also has injuries to his left arm and left hand. More than 7 years have passed since, and the mysterious details of his final hours have weighed on his mother, Sandy Smith, and the rest of the family.
It's draining.
Suzanne
It's
Andrews has become a
frustrating.
close friend to them in their time of need. The family rejects the hit and run theory. South Carolina Highway Patrol's initial investigations, no vehicle debris, skid marks, or injuries consistent with someone being struck by a vehicle. A heated discussion between Trooper Todd Proctor and pathologist Dr. Aaron Presnell reveals that the death was ruled this way because Smith was found in the road. Blue paint chips are found on Smith's clothes but cannot be traced to a specific make or model. And Smith's car was found about 3 miles away on Bamberg Highway. It won't start, but investigators find his wallet inside. The gas cap also unscrewed. His family reports he would have never left the car, calling him skittish. And his twin sister Stephanie also tells authorities that her brother had become very secretive about 2 weeks prior to the incident. Documents show investigators fielding tips about the Murdaugh family in the days and months following his death. The first tip comes in early August, suggesting swirling rumors of a relationship between Smith and Buster Murdaugh, Alec Murdaugh's eldest and now only surviving son. An investigator also fields a tip about another possible suspect, but that tipster tells them he passed along the information at the request of a well-known family patriarch, former solicitor Randy Murdaugh. Andrews says in the records she has the Murdaugh name is mentioned 40 times.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. There has to be something to it.
Eventually, the leads dried up and the case went cold. That was until the murders of Maggie and Paul Murdaugh in June of 2021. That same month, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division reopened Smith's case based on information they had gathered during that initial murder investigation. What that information is, though, still has yet to be revealed. SLED reports they have made progress in the last year and a half, but to this day, no suspects have been formally named in relation to Smith's death. No interviews with anyone from the Murdaugh family are ever noted in Highway Patrol's documents. Andrews believes the answers the family have been so desperate to learn are out there, and she's urging anyone who knows something to speak up now.
Put yourself in Sandy's shoes as a parent, that it being your child.
Bravo again for that lady.
Do the right thing and come forward.
According to SLED, the case is still active and ongoing.
As Blair Sable reporting, in the meantime, state
And that road is out in the middle of frickin' nowhere. Does anybody have the 911 call? Has the 911 call been released for that?
I haven't heard of the 911 call.
Of the person that was on their way to work, I think is what they said. I'm gonna have to see if I can find that 911 call.
Yeah, I haven't.
Maybe it's.
I haven't seen a 911 call for it.
Yeah, this isn't gonna be the last show about this topic. That's for sure. Was it Cousin Eddie? Is it Curtis Smith? Is that Cousin Eddie or whatever? Who's Curtis
Eddie
Smith?
Curtis.
Okay.
Eddie Curtis Smith.
Did he testify?
No.
Did he testify? No?
No.
Because as I was looking up, trying to find some other videos when it came to this case, really not finding much. So if anybody does have anything, please send it to me. I saw this right here. 48 hours interviews man accused of shooting SC attorney Alec Murdaugh on alleged assisted suicide from a year ago. I wonder. I don't know. I just get bad vibes about this guy. And I'm not, this is coming from nowhere, but this dude, I don't know. I just get bad vibes. Do you think he might be connected to this case?
I don't really
Probably not.
see it.
Because it seemed like it was more out of the blue with the car breaking down.
But you never know if Alex is involved.
Well, this is what I was telling somebody earlier today when I was at work. I was like, I wonder if cousin Eddie was the dirt man. He was the guy that did all the dirty work. So that way Alec and his family didn't have to get their hands dirty whatsoever. This guy, $2 million. $2 million. It just makes me feel like this guy was the handyman. The guy that did the dirty work. I don't know, though. That's just coming from out of opinion. Nothing to do with any kind of evidence or anything. I don't know. I just get a bad vibe. But what's this little detective's son discover on night of murders? Do you know what that has to do? Because I searched up Stephen Smith Murdaugh Buster, and it came up with this video. Is there something to do with that? Like
I think he was called Little Detective because he was looking for pills from his dad.
So that has something to do with the actual Alec Murdaugh case. Okay.
With the pills, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if that had something to do with it because I was trying to look up whatever, and I couldn't find it. Now there's this Law and Crime short. Buster's next. Alec Murdaugh yelled at while leaving courthouse. Buster's next. Your son is next. A person yelled to Alec Murdaugh as he left court that Friday morning. I don't know if these work over this or not, but I'm going to try it. Buster's next. Now, there are... Okay, let me get that 911 call. There are... I don't know if anybody's heard this, but Buster Murdaugh's filed police report for alleged stalking. He's been getting threats. Yeah, there's a lot of videos of him filing a police report for alleged stalking now, where he's getting threats.
Yeah, him and his girlfriend called the police twice in a 24-hour period. Yeah.
Do you know why?
Somebody took a picture of him in the Hilton Head condo in a gray Charger. And then when they were leaving the condo, somebody was following them and taking pictures. And the police pulled that vehicle over.
Oh.
And gave them a warning for traffic violations and stalking or harassing. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow, SRB, thank you so much for the link. What's up, Coat? How you doing tonight? I'm sorry you're not feeling good. JRL dude shouted that like he did with RA. Shouted what? Yeah, I hope you feel better soon. Sorry you're not feeling better. SRB got the 911 call. Wow. Thank you, SRB. Give me 1 second here. Wow, this Island Packet channel. I'm going to go ahead and put up the link to the channel here in a second. Looks like they got some really good videos about this Murdaugh case, so we might check out their channel here in a second. Let me see. The students get me sick. Oh gosh, yes. Vitamin C and water, right? No, it's all good. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, let me switch to it here. This is Island Packet YouTube channel.
That was the first time I've seen that channel today.
Yeah, pretty cool looking. They got all sorts of Murdaugh stuff, so I'm excited to check out this channel. Thank you guys so much for always giving me your links, because it introduces me to new channels here on YouTube, and I appreciate it so much because it gives so much more of an insight on different cases and stuff. Look at that. It's got video of the road. Wow, this is a really cool channel. Thank you, SRB. Appreciate that. All right, so this is Island Packet. Did I put it in the chat? Yes, I did. All right, so we'll go back to this video. This is 911 call.
Hampton County 911, where's your emergency?
Hello, I just going down the Crocketville Road, and I see somebody laying out.
What road are you, what's the name of the highway that you're on?
I know it's Crocketville Road.
Just know it's Crocketville Road.
Yeah.
Hold on just a second. And which way are you headed?
Okay, you know that way to go to, like going towards Brunson?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, you're on that road just before you get into Crocketville.
Turn Crocketville, make that right.
Okay. Crocketville, take a right.
Wait, take a left. When you call 601,
Uh-huh.
Sandburg.
Uh-huh. If I'm
Baumberg Highway 601 North. I'm going to write that down and then we can maybe go look at it later in Google Maps. 601 North.
if I'm going toward Bamberg, I'm going to take a left onto that road?
Yeah, like you going to, I see the road called 14. You can go to Sandy Run,
But you're not on Sandy Run Road?
Sandy Run
I think it is. It says you the Sandy Road go straight on out.
Okay. And is it in the road or on the side of the road?
In the road.
Oh, in the road.
So here's a picture. 10 feet from this lane, from the edge of the road. And it looks like 3.5 feet. Now, what is that circled right there? Basically, just right in the middle of the frickin' road. Right in the middle. So, each side could have pretty much nipped him. And when you're driving at night in the dark or in the morning in the dark, you know, sometimes you don't even see animals on the road until the last second. That's why there's a lot of roadkill on the road. You know, you don't see it until the last second. I'm surprised that something else didn't happen. But maybe this was the first person that came down that road after, you know, before he showed up there. Kev's working tonight. He's been in chat. He had a couple lives yesterday. Really cool, making a resin bowl. Yeah, very interesting. I'm gonna have to. The last couple videos are really good. I'm gonna have to take some screenshots off these videos tomorrow and add them to the case folder because they've got a lot of good documents and stuff too.
Yeah.
All right. So what's your name and call that number?
My name is Ronnie Capers.
Okay. All right, Mr. Capers. Can I get a phone number for you?
I don't know the number off this phone, but you can call this number back. I was going to work.
Okay, but this is a good number to reach you back at?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll get an officer headed out that way to see what's going on.
Okay. They laid in the road. I ain't moving or nothing like that. But somebody going to hit him. It's dark. Somebody going to hit him.
All right. We'll get an officer headed out that way.
We'll go ahead and listen to it again here in a second. He's just saying, I see somebody laying out in the road. I'm surprised they're not more urgent or seeming more urgent about that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just confused, but it didn't seem like there's a lot of urgency with that. Right before. Oh, no. That's cool. Yeah, we got to hook him up with Stream Elements so he can get all that stuff set up. Very little detail. Yeah, it's just interesting because, you get the 911 call. This guy is like, it's really hard to understand what he's saying, too. And it doesn't help when YouTube's closed captioning doesn't exactly match all the words that the videos say. I mean, props to him for having most of it right, but there's some stuff you're just like, yeah, that is not what they said. But here, I'll go ahead and throw the link to the 911 call in the chat. That way, if you'd like to save it for yourself and you'd like to listen to it, unfiltered, uninterrupted audio, so maybe you can have a better clarity of it.
I missed the part where Kevin blew out the bottom of that bowl he was working on when I was watching.
Yeah, I'll have to watch the replay.
I must have got off before that happened.
I didn't even see it. That's got to be frustrating. You put all that work, into something,
Right.
and then, But that's what makes the ones that, turn out amazing so special, is because all of those chances and things that could happen, but everything defied all the odds to be able to exist in its own form.
And you learn what happened before, so now you know what to look out for.
Right. Let me see here. So this is a link here from the Daily Mail. Buster is in a very difficult spot, calls for fresh probe into Murdaugh family's long-rumored involvement in death of 19-year-old gay man 8 years ago. The public are now demanding answers over the Murdaugh family alleged long-rumored involvement. I'll pop up. In the suspicious death of Buster's former classmate who was found dead on a road close to their South Carolina estate. So he was found 15 miles from the Murdaugh's family home. So that's another interesting bit of information that we can add, is that he was 3 miles from his car, 15 miles from the Murdaugh family hunting lodge. They had a hunting lodge. All right. And now that the patriarch, Alec Murdaugh, has been sentenced to life in prison, there is a big public outcry to find out what happened to Smith. Smith's death was ruled a hit and run, but his mother, Sandy, has always maintained that her son, who was gay and a classmate of Murdaugh's son, Buster, was murdered and there was a cover-up. Attorney Eric Bland. Okay, so this is... Whoa, my pen just freaking flew apart. So this is that attorney that you were talking about. Eric
He's
Bland.
Gloria Satterfield's family's attorney, too.
So he says there's a long rumored involvement of a Murdaugh, whether it's Buster or somebody else in the family that has knowledge of at least the death of Stephen Smith. Is this a video or pop-ups? Come on. Is this a video? No, it's a picture. Attorney, long rumored involvement. Let's see. He said Stephen was found in the middle of the country road, and the highway department said he was hit by a car, but there was no broken glass. There were no car parts. His clothes were intact. His shoes were on, and he had clear head trauma injury that looked like it was done by something other than a car. He added that investigators reopened the case, as well as an investigation into the death of the family's housekeeper, Gloria Satterfield, in 2021 following the murders of Maggie and Paul. Investigators at the time said they had reopened the cases after discovering information in their investigation into Maggie and Paul's murders. So maybe they did find something off of his phone.
That's
I could see
very
that now.
possible.
Yeah, that's what it says, right? Investigators at the time said they had reopened the cases after discovering information in their investigation into Maggie and Paul's murders. Wow. For both of them. Wow. For both cases. Bland said that now Buster's father, Alec Murdaugh, has been convicted for double murder. There's a public outcry to find out the truth behind Stephen's death. Well, at least justice is starting to be served here.
Yep.
Bland says it's peeling the onion. You keep peeling it, you find more.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot we have to find out yet.
Yeah. A lot of stuff that was brushed under a rug. There's been a decent enough lead to reopen the case, yeah. It sounds like what you guys are saying could be true. Like, they could have found stuff on the phones of Buster or something. Or Paul, or who knows. Even Maggie. Because I'm sure Alec didn't clean off all the shit after he committed the crime. So I'm sure there's stuff on the phones of each one of them that probably added to the investigation of the others, even if it was hearsay or questions or whatever, you know. And then if he's little investigator, or what do they call him, little detective or something? Maybe
little detective.
Yeah. And then especially if he was involved in it, oh yeah, then you would think for sure there might be something on there. Because if they're used to getting away with stuff all the time, then you're not going to be as cautious about hiding shit, because you're going to be so confident that you're not going to get caught. You ain't going to take the time to to make sure that something can't tie back to you.
Well, when they did Alex's phone, there was a bunch of stuff on there that he deleted, but it was still in the phone.
Yeah.
And they brought all that up too. Was deleting stuff that night.
Really?
Oh yeah. But they were able to pull it up off his phone forensically.
Whoa. This says right here, Paul was facing criminal charges after being accused of driving the boat while drunk before he was shot dead.
Yes.
The girl's family were suing Murdaugh for a reported $30 million.
Yes.
$30 million.
His trial, I believe, was supposed to start on the 10th of June, and Maggie and Paul were murdered the 7th of June. The boat case was supposed to start on the 10th. 3 days after the murders.
And wow. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. $30 million. They were getting sued for $30 million?
Yeah.
30 million. And then to find out, I didn't even know this until yesterday or last night, that his law firm confronted him the morning of the crimes the morning the crimes took place.
Yeah, they called
That's
him
crazy.
into the office.
That dude, he was just backed into a corner.
Yeah. The lady at the office, the chief financial officer or something, Jeannie, confronted him about $792,000 that was missing that morning.
From the law firm?
Yes. Money Alex stole.
From the law firm? Like what, their own account? How did they...
From the law firm and clients.
So they knew that he was stealing from clients too, huh?
She confronted him that morning. He's
Powerful
just
Murdaugh family and Steven's story. Let's see, you guys sent me this link to Eric Allen. Compelling true crime documentaries. This one's about, let me see here. Let me see how long this one is. Because this is a true crime. Okay, this is 25 minutes. This is from a channel. He was stealing from clients too. Yeah. Millions. Just crazy. Like there's... one day I'm going to have to sit back and I'm just going to have a show. How long do you think his testimony is, day 1 and day 2? Like 4 hours, 5 hours total?
what do you think?
Testimony? Like 5 hours total? It was for 2 days, right?
I would say at least 4 hours for both direct and cross.
Yeah, Alex's testimony, day 1 and day 2. I would like to do a show where I just sit back and watch his testimony, the whole thing. Like, this shit is so interesting. And how all of this stuff just, you know, like all of these things that took place, just, you know, like all of this stuff that I'm just learning about what took place the day of, after, during, like all of this stuff, I didn't know. I did not know. And we didn't talk about it that much. We had a lot of other stuff we were covering, so I wasn't really able to dig into it too much. But man, I would love to just have a show where I just sit back and listen to his testimony. And then if anybody would want to hop out on open panel, we could, it would probably be like a Saturday night or something, you know, Saturday night, you know, get on at like 6 Central, 7 Central or something, and just watch his whole testimony. That just had, for everybody that's watched it, was it really freaking just interesting, jaw-dropping the whole time that he was up there talking? Whether it was lies or truth or getting caught or trying to evade, was it?
It was very interesting. Yeah,
like
it's
it
a
would
must.
be. I should I do that? Like some night, just nothing but the testimony, day 1 and day 2, and just.
Yeah, it was a shit show. Honestly,
it sounds.
He was a big time actor in the whole testimony.
Oh yeah. So was it like a good boxing match? Was it like, you know, each one got their blows in, and it was you know, there was a lot of oohs and ahs when it came to the questions and the answers and stuff? And
oh my God, SRB! It was 10 hours. He was total on the stand.
Is it really 10 hours? Is it really? Oh crap!
I didn't realize it was that long.
That's a lot. Well, I don't know. Maybe maybe we'll do like two 2 nights. one night, 5 hours, and another night 5 hours. I don't know if I could. That's a man. That's a long. That's a long. Yep, I googled.
I didn't
it.
realize it was that long.
10 hours. Wow. Well, I don't know.
No.
We'll rethink that. It sounds interesting.
Alex,
I want to watch it.
Alex's lawyer treated him with kid gloves.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
Oh, he was all calm when he was questioning him.
Oh, like a baby?
Yeah. And then Waters got up to question him. It wasn't a baby. He wasn't treated like a little baby then.
Waters. So that's the guy, the prosecutor.
Prosecutor. Yeah, Attorney General.
So yeah, so did he, was it like strategic? Did he kind of like walk him in to get him to be honest about stuff, or like was it a chess match mentally?
Oh,
like
he jumped right in.
Oh, really?
He jumped right in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was just ready to go. Let's get it over with, buddy. Tell the truth. Maybe if we went through parts of it, it would still be good. Well, if you guys, I want to figure out a way where I can allow one of you guys to screen share, and you guys, can play like. That'd be cool. Maybe some night if we do that, I'll allow one of you to screen share, and you guys could play the parts of it that you find interesting or something, or maybe in the future.
SRB's gonna have to do that. I'm not good at that.
Yeah. Or even Justice, if she hops in one night, because she does a lot of screen sharing on her stuff too. Maybe she seems to know a lot about this case too. Thank you all again for being in the panel last night. It was a great show. It was really cool. Like, the first time I was getting to learn the case from you guys instead of information that we all see on the show we watch every day. So that was really cool. It was a lot of fun last night, and I appreciate y'all doing that.
Yeah, it was fun.
All right. If anybody would, let me see. We all know. I only have. Well, we'll figure it out sometime. Or hell, even if you want to just give me timestamps and a topic or whatever, we can just go through it. But
I vote JSD too.
Huh?
I vote JSD too.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we can do. It'll be interesting. I would like to sit back and. How long was Buster on the stand? What was his testimony like? Was that
his wasn't very long at all.
No.
Waters treated him, pretty decent. Didn't really.
So nothing
I didn't
came
think
out much.
Yeah, nothing really. He took it easy on him.
Basically, just asking him if he thought his dad could have committed the crime and such. It was blah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to check out this. If anybody has anything or they want to hop up and say anything on open panel or live call, you're more than welcome to. I'm going to dig into this. I don't think I've even played a video. This is from one of your guys. It looks like makes his own documentaries. And I love documentaries, so I definitely appreciate the link. I'm definitely going to be checking out the channel. I mean, look at this. We could even have like Mafia run the island, and just she tweeted this days before her murder. Like different cool little documentaries. So I'm definitely excited to check out the channel. Thank you for the link. And if there's nothing else anybody wants to hop into, I'm going to check out this little 25-minute documentary that Eric Allen made on here. I'll go ahead and put his link to his channel in the chat, so if you'd like to subscribe to him as well. And I'm going to go ahead and start this up, and we'll just kind of sit back and commentate. If there's anything you want to say, just ask me to pause at Kib Kitty. And if anybody else would like to hop up in the open panel, you're more than welcome. I'll go ahead and put that link out one more time before we start this up. SRB said uninteresting. Okay, we won't check it out. All right, I'm gonna hit this play and we'll see what this one. I'm excited. Oh, I love documentaries, and I especially like finding out new ones. Look at that. I need a drone one day.
Believe, and you try to cover it up, or you lie, or whatever.
Holy crap! Sorry, everybody.
So Stephen's.
Dang, that was loud. I apologize.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, I can tell you this, because I know it kind of went back and forth, and there were different rumors and about it, him possibly getting hit by a car and this and that. He didn't get hit by no car. Okay. And I'm not saying that, whoever did this, murdered him, because, to have that charge of murder, you got to have premeditation, and you got to have, forethought and all this kind of stuff. But if it was, somebody playing around and it got out of control, the problem is that when you leave and you try to cover it up, or you lie, or, whatever, so Stephen's, his story deserves to be told, and that's what I'm working for.
We spent the last 2 episodes exploring the boating accident in Beaufort, South Carolina, resulting in the tragic death of Mallory Beach. Could this accident be someone's motive for the murder of Paul and Maggie Murdaugh? It's possible, but there's so much more to this story.
Ooh, that's a good layout right there of the picture of the crime scene there. Wow, that 3D animation was pretty good that we watched last night. That's pretty spot on. So I wanted to say something to an earlier comment before it kind of reminded me of it. SRB brought up we didn't even go in to a lot more stuff that we didn't get a chance to go into from last night's show. So if you guys would like to schedule a part 2, we could always continue that conversation from last night's show. So if you guys would like, we can do it on, did Monday night work out good for everybody? We could always,
what was that?
SRB had mentioned a little bit ago that last night's show we didn't really we didn't get to cover a lot more stuff that we could have covered, and so we could always do a part 2 from last night's show if everybody would like to schedule another night where everybody's able to hop in and get on panel, and we can do a part 2 of it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'd definitely like to learn more. Also, I'd like to do a show. I know we'll keep doing more shows about this case because this is going to start ramping up here. So we're going to have more and more stuff, I imagine, here in the future to discuss. Plus, I'm just starting to learn about this case. But I kind of want to do a show on the Mallory Beach boat accident, too, some night. So maybe we can get some links together for that when it comes to this boating accident, because I know there's a lot of security footage. There's a lot of stuff when it comes to that boating accident. Did I ever watch the body cam video of the night of the murders on scene? I do have the body cam footage. You know what? We should use that, and I'll save that for the part 2. The body cam, because I would like to see it. I think I have I have the first officer and then I have the next officer. I think I have 2 different body cams, and they're both about like 40 some minutes long. Does that sound right? About 40, 50 minutes long, each of them. First officer and then the next responding officer's body cam as well. I think we left a lot unsaid about the guns and actual timeline. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, we'll figure out, we'll get with Kevin. Kevin, if you're still in chat, let us know if Monday would be good or what night would be good next, and we can go ahead and schedule part 2 for that show. I'd definitely like to have all of you guys be able to be in the panel again like you guys were last night. And if anybody else missed out, I think Pam, something came up, Pam. So if you'd like to, you'd be more than welcome to hop in part 2 as well. I think you said you had some information on that as well, but yeah, I want to. We'll figure out a part 2 from last night's show. We'll go ahead and figure that out, and then I'll figure out a night where we do this Mallory Beach stuff. I'll just need to gather some information for that and have it for its own specific show. And then obviously, we'll still end up talking about this because this is reopened and everything. So yeah, we'll figure it out. That'll be cool. Part 2. I'm definitely excited to watch that body cam because I definitely wanted to check that out. All right, we'll get into this documentary here.
We need to take a trip to Hampton, South Carolina, about an hour away from Beaufort, and explore the mysterious death of a young man named Stephen Smith. Let's head over to Hampton and get to know the town a little better. It had been a while since I had spent time in Hampton, and driving around did bring back a few memories for me. Hampton served as a halfway point for me and an old girlfriend who, for a portion of our relationship, had lived in Augusta, Georgia.
Wow, look at those clocks.
I found out while researching for this episode that actually the same reason I knew of Hampton was the same reason that it existed in the first place. The town was built around the fact that it was the halfway point between Beaufort and Augusta for the Port Royal Railroad. Hampton's population is around 2,500 people.
Wow.
The median per capita income is around $17,000 per year.
Wow, that's
It's
it?
surrounded by farmland and rural roads.
17 grand a
So
year.
for years, the only reason I knew of Hampton was because it had a McDonald's to meet at. But as this story started to unfold, Hampton started becoming familiar for other reasons. Hampton is where the Murdoch family is from and where their law firm is located. For the sake of simplicity, I've been calling it the Murdoch Law Firm, and it was started in 1910 by Randolph Murdoch Sr., but the firm has added partners since, and the official name of the law firm is Peters, Murdoch, Parker, Eltsroth, and Dietrich, or PMPED. If you are wondering how this seemingly dying southern town can house such a successful and prominent law firm, you're not alone. Visiting a website called judicialhellholes.org will shed some light on the interesting situation here. The United States is comprised of over 3,000 counties. Where does Judicial Hellhole put Hampton County on that list?
3,000?
Well, not too long ago, it was ranked number 3. You heard that right, number 3. The website defines judicial hellholes as places where judges systematically apply laws and court procedures in an unfair and unbalanced manner, generally against defendants. Essential business in Hampton County and you get sued, the settlement against you is likely to be much greater than it would be in other counties. Some see it as the law firm fighting for the little guy against major corporations. But like most aspects of this story, it's just not that simple. And this type of system can have broader consequences. Think about this. If you are a business owner, do you want the liability that comes with operating in Hampton County? I know I wouldn't. Many people see this as one of the main reasons this county seems to be dying a slow death. It's just too risky for businesses to move in. I would guess a law firm like the Murdochs would have some power even in a big city like Charleston. So how much more would it have influence in a small, low-income southern town like Hampton? Talk about a big fish in a small pond. But like I said in my first episode, just because you have power and influence doesn't mean that you're going to abuse it, but it does mean you have the opportunity to. Stephen Smith was 19 years old at the time of his death. According to his family and friends, he was always smiling and making everyone around him laugh. If Stephen was in the room, everything just felt a bit lighter and more carefree. His mom described him as a ray of sunshine. He loved books, loved the beach, and he wanted to be a doctor. At the time of his death, he was a nursing student at OC Tech. In the early morning hours of July 8, 2015, a gentleman was driving through a small unincorporated area near Hampton called Crocketville, more specifically Sandy Run Road, when he noticed a body lying in the street. Nervous there was some sort of foul play going on, and maybe someone dangerous was still around, he drove about a mile down the road to the stop sign and called 911.
Oh, wow.
Hampton County 911. Where's your emergency?
Hello. You know, I'm going to hit him. It's dark. Somebody's going to hit him.
The sheriff's office was dispatched, and upon arrival, they found Stephen Smith deceased, lying on the yellow line in the middle of the road. His car was found on the side of a different road about 3 miles away with the gas cap unscrewed. Officers could not start his car, and it had to be towed. The first few days of an investigation are by far the most important. That's why we really need to understand what happened the hours and days following Stephen's death. Deaths like this don't happen often in Hampton County, and the sheriff's office felt it needed to call in assistance to help with this case. Because Stephen's body was found on the roadway and his car on the side of the road a few miles away, the sheriff's office figured he ran out of gas, was walking home, and was hit by a car.
That's got to be a dark road, too. A dark road.
So they called in the South Carolina Highway Patrol, more specifically the MATE Division, which specializes in more complex vehicle accidents. But keep in mind, they do not investigate murders. As they began to comb through the scene, the officers found zero evidence of a hit and run.
This is Corporal Dr. South Carolina Highway Patrol Mate. It's reference to a collision in Hampton County on Sandy Run Road. It is a 2-lane roadway, level, sight distance not an issue. However,
what a great video.
This collision occurred approximately at night. So visible headlights only. There's no other area. As far as evidence here, there is only evidence of where the body was found. There's no car parts, no any type of parts to a car or truck or any other vehicle. There is no body trauma other than to the head area. There is some scrapes and scratches on his left and right arm, on his knuckles, some across his face. It does not appear to be, in my opinion, struck by a vehicle. Possibly something else.
At around 7 a.m. that morning, and a inspection, the coroner ruled death a homicide, believing the injury to Stephen's head was a gunshot wound.
Really? Wow. Was that the hole behind
At this
his
point,
eye?
it doesn't make sense for the Highway Patrol to be investigating this case, and SLED, or the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, was called in. But the coroner actually doesn't have the final say in the cause of death. That final decision goes to what's called a pathologist. Pathologist is a highly specialized physician whose primary area of expertise is the study of body tissues and body fluids. The pathologist studied Stephen's remains and determined the injury was not a gunshot wound. No bullet fragments were found, and she believed the injury to be caused by blunt force trauma, more specifically from a vehicle. Because of the pathologist's determination, SLED turned the investigation back over to the South Carolina Highway Patrol. Multiple agents from the Highway Patrol tried to speak with the pathologist in an attempt to understand why she disagreed with the coroner. Here's an officer's report. The reason I went and spoke with her was due to a preliminary report where she stated that the victim was possibly struck by a motor vehicle mirror, which was the cause of death. Sergeant Moore had already had, from my understanding, a heated conversation with her about this issue. She stated that she could not even begin speaking with me about this case without the coroner's consent. I advised her that I had spoken with Coroner Washington the day before, and she basically called me a liar, and she said she would call him right then. When I asked if she wanted me to call from my cell phone, she backed off. I asked her why she stated that in the report, and her answer was because he was found in the road. She had no evidence other than that for the statement being put in the report. I asked her if someone with a baseball bat could do that, and she stated no. When I probed further, saying, what about someone in a moving car with a baseball bat? She stated, well, I guess it's possible. As I was leaving, she stated that the report was preliminary and it was my job to figure out what it was that struck him, not hers. So at this point, it seems clear that it wasn't a gunshot wound that killed Stephen. It was blunt force trauma. However, the circumstances surrounding the blunt force trauma were still very unclear. And because the pathologist ruled it a hit and run, the highway patrol ended up in charge of investigating what everyone but the pathologist believed to be a homicide. I've listened to hours of interviews and read through pages and pages of documents to prepare for this episode. Throughout the course of the investigation, 4 potential theories seemed to surface, one of which seems to implicate the most prominent and powerful family in town. Let's take a look at the Murdaugh family again. Paul and Maggie were found shot in June of 2021 at the family hunting lodge. We haven't covered Alec much up to this point, but we're going to have episodes devoted to him later in this series. This episode, we're going to be talking about Buster Murdaugh. Buster and Stephen went to the same school and graduated the same year at Wade Hampton High School. The first mention I could find of the Murdaugh name being brought up was in an officer's interview with a family member of Stephen. Most names you hear from this point forward will be changed to respect the privacy of those involved.
I just left the house the first official time yesterday.
Yes, ma'am.
And I went into the store and a bunch of people kept coming up to me and they're like, did you know the Murdaugh boys are behind it? You know, saying Buster Murdaugh, the one we went to school with, did it, and some of his friends.
The officer asks where she heard this rumor from and does his best to trace it to the source.
That she was at church and that both of y'all had spoken about Stephen's death, about Buster Murdaugh. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I told her that another friend of mine had texted me asking me if Buster and Stephen were together. And I told him no. I said, not that I knew of. And then I asked him why. He said because he had heard that. And then I asked him who he heard it from. And he said he just heard it.
Was that?
I'm going to pause to respect the creator and ask a question at the same time. So is this Brianna? Is this the girlfriend? Or not the girlfriend, but the best friend of Stephen.
They used different names, didn't they? For privacy.
But is this who it's supposed to be? Is the friend or the girlfriend? Like, let me rewind it a little bit. I'm wondering if this is that friend sitting in the car. Maybe ATV on the... Ooh, yeah, there you go, Pam. Could the scrapes be being tossed out of the car?
SRB thinks the anonymous person is the best friend.
The best friend? That's what I was wondering. That's what I was thinking too. Okay. Let me rewind it just a tad. Because I think this is... I remember hearing something, and it wasn't from this, but it just kind of clicked in my head like, oh, wait, maybe this is who it was. I just wanted to ask. Plus, I needed to pause it to respect the creator because, you know, we have to do that. And totally understand. You know, they take the time in editing these videos and putting in the hard work. So, you know, to get the full uninterrupted, you should be able to go to their channel and watch it. So totally understand it. All right, I just rewound a little bit. I want to listen to what they're saying again here, or this person.
Went to the same school and graduated the same year at Wade Hampton High School. The first mention I could find of the Murdaugh name being brought up was in an officer's interview with a family member of Stephen. Most names you hear from this point forward will be changed to respect the privacy of those involved.
I just left the house the first official time yesterday.
Yes, ma'am.
And I went into the store, and a bunch of people kept coming up to me, and they're like, did you know the Murdaugh boys are behind it? You know, saying Buster Murdaugh, the one we went to school with, did it, and some of his friends.
The officer asks where she heard and does his best to the source.
Yeah, she was at church, and that both of y'all had spoken about Stephen's death, about Buster Murdaugh. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I told her that another friend of mine had texted me asking me if Buster and Stephen were together. And I told him no. I said, not that I knew of, and then I asked him why. He said because he had heard that. And then I asked him who he heard it from,
Ooh.
and he said he didn't know, he just heard it.
Was that message from?
It was from, yes.
Okay. Have you got his phone number?
And she wasn't the only person who heard it from Michael.
I heard that 2, maybe 3 young men were in a vehicle. They were riding down 601, saw the car on the side of the road. I guess saw the boy walking. They turned back around. I guess they were attempting to, mess around with him or something like that, and stuck something out the window, and it, hit him in, I don't know if it hit him in the head or the back or where it hit him. And then that's pretty much all I heard. I did hear names, and I heard a name, and that name was, by Buster Murdaugh.
Oh, wow.
I've known Buster
Whoa.
pretty much my whole life. He's a grade under me. We went to school together, played baseball together. Kind of out of character to who I knew. But I did also hear from the same source that he could possibly have been on some type of drugs. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. It's just strictly hearsay from all I know.
Would it have been Buster driving?
I would have imagined so. To know Buster, usually he drove himself around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, he was always the one. They were in his vehicles. He always had friends with him in his vehicles when he was driving around. Or that's how it was in school.
There had to be more than one. And then if Buster was the one driving, that means somebody else the one that hit Stephen. Did he tell you where he had gotten this information?
Yes, sir. He got it from, I think her first name is, he heard it from, which is Buster Murdaugh. And when I originally heard this, I was thinking of the younger Murdaugh boy, Buster's little brother Paul, because Paul's more the, I won't say troublemaker, but he's a little more, my last name is Murdaugh. I can do whatever, you know what I mean?
It went to his head a lot more.
You're right. He was more that type of kid.
It seems as if the officer is finally getting somewhere. Ben says he heard it from Michael, who heard it from Victoria, who heard it from Colby, who heard it from Buster. The officer keeps moving down the line.
What a video.
So, just go ahead and tell me the version of the story that you heard.
So I was with some friends one night, and I remember one of my friends said that, we had already knew, like, he got hit or whatever, and we didn't know who did it, but we just heard that Buster did it. So after that, everybody know who Buster is, and, like, his family and all that. So it was kind of, like, shocking. So, we just kept talking about it, and I guess it spread it around, like, a lot.
Can you tell me what you heard about the Stephen Smith incident?
I just heard what happened last week.
Okay. And who was that?
Buster Murdaugh.
Okay.
He was the guy that told me that.
There was a guy that told you that?
Yes, sir.
And did he say where he heard that from or how he was backing that up?
No, sir.
So he just said, I heard Buster did it.
Yes, sir.
Did he say how he did it or what happened?
He did. Yes, he did. He said they beat him up and threw him out the truck.
Beat him up and threw him out the truck?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Did Stephen have enemies? Yeah, because I mean, from everybody I've been talking to, I mean, everybody knew Stephen's lifestyle, of course, but nobody really had issue with that. Like he had, you know, so I don't understand like why, you know, I mean, and I've even asked people about Buster in particular, like, you know, did he not like this guy? And they were like, no. I mean, you know, so why do you think? What is? How does that make sense?
When the officer asks Victoria who she heard it from, she says Chandler. He even brings by name, and she says she didn't hear it from him. I can't find anywhere in the case files that they reached out to Chandler, but that doesn't mean they didn't. It just means they didn't make it available, and I'm not sure why. So everyone seems to have heard this rumor, but no one seems to know exactly where it came from. It seems as if the officer is trying to figure out if the reason he can't find anything is because there's just no truth to the rumor, or if it's because people are just too scared to talk.
And it seems to me like people are just too damn scared to talk. I mean, you hear it all the time, and yeah, I can see the telephone game happening. There's two things, though. I can see the telephone game happening, but the story is pretty much the same for each person, so it's not really changing that much. So the telephone game isn't necessarily taking effect. And the thing is the streets talk. The streets do talk. So that's where you get your Buster did it. Buster. The streets talk a lot more. And I don't know. That's one thing I was paying attention to all of these. I would like to go over these phone calls again, because I think these are probably the most important information. I mean, what a great video. And I appreciate this channel for making this documentary. Great video. The pictures, the presentation, the information, tremendous job. But I think this part is the most interesting part of this whole video, is these phone calls with these friends or people that are connected. Because not only you get to hear the voice, you get to hear the emotion behind the words. It's not reading it off a piece of paper or an article where you're putting your own emotion and your own thoughts into these words. You get to hear these straight from the people. We get to dissect that. And so I'm definitely going to go back to this video again in the future, because it is going to be a topic where we kind of do dissect each one of these calls, every single one of them. And what a great job with this video again, the way that they laid it all out. What a tremendous job. Chris, what was his motive? His motive was Buster was going to be found out that he was having a relationship with Stephen. And that's something that, you know, probably he didn't want getting out, and events took place the way that they did. It's interesting, though. The female best friend of Stephen is the one I think that has the most interesting thoughts and opinions. Well, he didn't want to get found out, is what the theory is, Kelt. He didn't want to get found out.
Especially the Murdaugh name.
The Murdaugh name. Hell, like we went into earlier in this show, that's like the only state that doesn't have a hate crime bill. So, you know, it could be the location. There could be a lot of factors into it, but you know what it boils down to is the theory is he didn't want to be found out. I think his best friend, the female best friend, I think was his diary if he didn't keep one. because it sounds to me like he told her all of his secrets. It sounds to me that the dad knew about, because there was a video we watched earlier about it was a couple months before the dad passed away or something, and he was talking about how he knew Buster and his son were together. So it's not proven, but it's not a secret. You know, the people that are closest to him are the ones that already said that he was having a relationship with Buster. So, especially his father, you know,
Yeah.
if his father's, you know, saying it, his father's hurt, his father knows, his father's telling this person that he knows, you know, can you believe that they allow witnesses in courtroom during testimony? Yeah, that's
Yeah, that didn't make any sense to me.
right.
Usually the witnesses aren't allowed in the courtroom, but it's
Yeah.
South Carolina, so
It's a different world. That's for sure. But yeah, we'll have to dissect these calls sometime. Very interesting. So we're gonna finish up the last few minutes on this video with a game night. I might actually, because this is a special, it's not just a regular open topic show or whatever. Normally, I would transition into the games right from the show, but with this being a special, what I'll probably do is I'll just shut down the show for a little bit, and I might get on some Facebook pool, some 8-ball pool or something for a little bit, and stream that for a little bit or something. Else, you're a 17-year-old high school student. Oh no. Prayers to the family. I'm sure everyone has been. That's what it sounds like, SRB. Like everybody knows like who did it, what took place, or whatever, or somewhat of a timeline of events or what took place, but nobody wants to talk. And it's been that way for generations. It's almost like it's engraved into their memory or their thought process. You don't do this. You don't do this. Oh my gosh, they have. What's up?
I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna head to get some sleep.
All right. Well, good night. I appreciate you hopping up here. I'm gonna
No
have
problem.
the night off tomorrow. I'm gonna help out Punksy, so I won't be having my show tomorrow. I'm gonna start having Wednesdays off instead of Mondays. Yeah, we all have to figure out when we can get together. So let's just all message, and we'll figure out when we can do a part 2. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you for hopping
Good night,
up. I appreciate
everybody.
you. Good night. Oh man, that's so sad. Yeah, we're gonna do a part 2 to last night's show. We're gonna go into body cam footage, 2 different versions. We're gonna go into more of the timeline and more into the events of the crime. So we're all gonna be up on panel again. Let's all schedule it. We need to get JSD, Kevin, Keld if you'd like to hop in that night, Pam if you'd like to hop in that night. Anybody, if you'd like to hop in open panel that night, you're more than welcome to. We're just going to be discussing more of the verdict and the timeline of events that took place. More about the timeline than the verdict, but it's going to be a part 2 to that show. So, yeah, we can figure it out Monday night if that's good for everybody. I'd like to have everybody that was up there last time and anybody else that would like to hop on. So we'll get it figured out the next couple days as we do the shows. We'll figure it out. we'll get a night set up where everybody can hop in, and we'll definitely have a I'm thinking Monday worked out pretty good, but I want to make sure everybody can hop in. So if it's a different night, that's not a problem. Or if I need to do it on a Wednesday night next week or something, I can always switch days or whatever. But yeah, let's definitely figure it out. I'd like to have everybody up here for that part too. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and go into the rest of these. I think there's one or two more calls here. Very interesting. I'm going to go ahead and put in the link to this video again in chat so you can click on it if you'd like and save it for you. What a great video. I appreciate this channel. Eric Allen, and I want to say thank you. I think it was Kib Kitty that sent it to me. Thank you for this link. I appreciate it. I always appreciate your links. You guys introduced me to a lot of different YouTube channels, and it really helps when it comes to information, different ideas, different thoughts, that you can mix together. And the presentations are just, they're awesome. So thank you again, Eric Allen.
My office is out of Charleston, okay? I don't work around Hampton. I know the Murdochs are highfalutin around Hampton, and, some people say have a lot of power or whatever, but that name doesn't mean anything to me. My job is to find out, you don't have to agree with Stephen's lifestyle, but that don't mean that he gets to be killed and nobody gets to find out what happened. I can tell you this because I know it kind of went back and forth, and there were different rumors and about it, him possibly getting hit by a car and this and that. He didn't get hit by no car. Stephen's, his story deserves to be told, and that's what I'm working for.
The officer asks if anyone had heard that Buster and Stephen were involved before Stephen's death, or did this rumor come about afterwards?
Had you ever heard of Stephen and Buster being involved with at all before this?
No, sir, I haven't.
So this was the first time you'd ever heard about something like this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you know Stephen at all?
Yes, sir. He was my best friend.
A few months later, an anonymous tip comes in that Xavier, along with another black male and a white male, Buster, are the ones involved in Stephen's death.
Somebody said he got hit by a car or something. That's what you heard. I didn't get hit by a car. He did? No, someone murdered him. That's what I'm saying. For what? Why would somebody do that to him? I have no idea. He wouldn't bother nobody, I don't think. Because he was when I played football, he was our trainer. I only see him every now and then in school, but other than that, I didn't ever see him. Sure, at school, some kids with the last name Murdoch. I know a girl, but I didn't. You know the boys? It wasn't too many. Well, it was one. He graduated with Steve. Right. You hang out with him? No, did. Did you ever go to any of his parties at any time? No, sir. Well, here's the thing. He's been brought up. He has a link in his death.
Wow.
So, if there's anything that you want to say about it, I'd hate to see you go down with whoever killed this boy. Well, I wasn't there. Didn't know about it until later after he died. I heard he was hit by a car. And that was it.
Xavier.
He wasn't.
That's interesting.
This interview just doesn't seem to go anywhere, and this is the last reference to them investigating the Murdoch theory in the case files that I received. Here's what Jessica Smith and Stephen's mother had to say about the Murdoch rumors at the time of Stephen's death.
They're saying Buster Murdoch, the one we went to school with, did it, and some of his friends, and I'm just sitting here like, why? It makes no sense. He's never said anything bad about Stephen. He's never been around Stephen to, I was mind-boggled at that, and I kind of ignored it. And, I haven't heard any more about that.
Has anybody talked to your mom about, rumors and things like that? Has she heard anything that you know of?
She's heard the same exact stuff I've heard, but she's more stuck on Mark did it. Mark did it and all that. So,
Huh.
So, who is Mark?
Right.
And what are the other theories surrounding the death of Stephen?
Who was
Well, I'll be
Mark?
covering those in the next episode. While nothing can be done to bring Stephen back,
The next
his family
episode.
deserves answers. During the investigation into the murders of Paul and Maggie Murdaugh, SLED received information that caused them to reopen Stephen's case. We don't know what that information is, but we do know that SLED investigates homicides, and this is great news for the friends and family of Stephen. Stephen's mother said this about her son. I just want to know what really happened to my son, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get justice. This is going to be my first Thanksgiving without him. Just seeing that empty chair there is going to be really hard.
Aw.
I know when Stephen was born, but I don't know exactly when he died. I know what his first words were, but I need to know what his last words were.
Wow, what a statement.
I want to know who took my son from me.
Aw.
I visited Stephen's grave before my first episode came out. Walking in a cemetery can be an odd experience. Life is so precious, and remembering loved ones is so important. My first stop was visiting Mallory. As I walked through the cemetery, I noticed differences in the grave markers. Some were old and wearing away, some were clean and new, some were beautiful and intricate, while others were just simple markers. Mallory's was beautiful, knowing she had a huge heart for animals. Loved ones had placed figures of dogs around her marker. As I continued on to the next cemetery and began to search for Stephen's grave, I took note of the simple, inexpensive markers. I'm sure the price tag of the marker had no correlation to the family's love for that person. Some families just don't have finances to create a space like Mallory's. I came across Stephen's and found that he had one of these simple markers.
Aw.
Knowing how much Stephen meant to so many people who knew him, I thought to myself, I bet we could get enough people to chip in and buy Stephen a new headstone. Turns out I wasn't the only one with that idea. Recently, someone on Facebook organized a group and has been raising money for a new headstone for Stephen. I've included the link to the GoFundMe in the description below. I felt like it would be a great opportunity for my viewers to be a part of this story in a positive way. If you want to give, just know that any amount, no matter how little, will help. Like I said, the link is in the description below. So when I started this series, it was just a side project. The response has been incredible, and honestly, I'm considering covering another case when this one is finished. If I get enough interest, I'm thinking about buying a camper and spending a month in Moab, covering the Gabby Petito case in a similar fashion as this one, getting real footage of real locations and diving deep into the story and evidence surrounding that case. That said, in order to cover another case, I need to know that my viewers want that and are interested in the way that I tell these stories. But as of this moment, only 13% of my viewers are subscribed. If you feel like I've earned your subscription and would be interested in seeing me cover another case when I'm finished with this one, I would be honored if you subscribed. Lastly, if you want to see early releases of these episodes, as well as my additional thoughts on the case and other content, you can check out my Patreon. Love you guys. See y'all in episode 4.
the day that Stephen passed away, Randy Murdaugh was the second person to call my dad after the coroner. And he said he wanted to take the case.
Right, for free.
And it would be free of charge and everything.
Just give me
And
the
my dad's a
passwords.
little iffy on that.
Yeah, just give me the passwords. He said, I'll need all the passwords. Creepy. What a video. Wow, this guy's definitely awesome presentation. Very impressive. Oh, I'm sorry you got a headache. There's two things I hate are headaches and stomach aches. Those are the worst. I hope you feel better, SRB. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, let's all message each other and let's figure out when we can do hell, we could do a part 2 of this episode too, because I know we'll be talking about this some more. We can go into that 911 call again. I can kind of give you what I think is being said. I know it's hard to understand. Yeah, And you're exactly right, SRB. He's not even that type of lawyer. He's a personal injury lawyer. They just want their hands in everything. Hey, well, we'll do it for, we're thinking about you. No, they're really thinking about themselves. So that way they can twist it. Yeah, those are the two worst: stomach aches and headaches. I hope you feel better. Thanks for hanging out. So let me go back to this 911 call. I think I had it. Yeah, here it is. This is from Island Packet again. This is another channel. I need to check out some of their videos. Really cool. A lot of Murdaugh stuff. So we'll go ahead and switch to this. This is the 911 call. And I'll try and kind of give you what I can understand. It's really hard to understand. Thank you, SRB. Appreciate you. I'm going to go ahead and put the link to this video in chat again. So if you'd like to hear it for yourself, so you can have the complete unfiltered audio in your own earbud, maybe you might be able to hear it a little better. So we'll go ahead and click on this and I'll try and narrate it as best as I can. Just give me 1 second. Let me put the link to this in the chat so you can have it for yourself. Good night, Dre. Appreciate you. Here is the link for that. All right, let me try and narrate this the best that I can. And I will have the closed captioning up, but like I said, it doesn't always match what's being said either. Just keep that in mind.
Hampton County 911, where's your emergency?
Hello, I just going down Crocketville Road.
He was going down Crocketville Road.
And I see somebody laying out.
And he's seen somebody laying out.
What road are you? What's the name of the highway that you're on?
I know it's Crocketville Road.
Just know it's Crocketville
Road.
Yeah.
Hold on just a second.
And he was reported, he went to the stop sign past where Stephen Smith was laying. And that's when he placed this call.
And which way are you headed?
Okay, that way to go to, like, you going to Horse Brunson?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, you're on that road just
on the back way to something.
before you get into Crocketville.
Turn Crocketville, make that right.
Okay. Crocketville, take a right.
Wait, take a left. When you call 601,
Uh-huh.
Bamberg.
Uh-huh. If I'm going toward Bamberg, I'm gonna take a left onto that road.
Yeah, like you going to, I see a road called 14. You can go to Sandy Run,
But you're not on Sandy Run Road.
I think it says you can Sandy Road, go straight on out.
Okay.
I really am having a hard time understanding what he's saying. Something about Sand Run Road. I mean, we know off the video that we just watched, it shows the location where the body was laying, and then also where the gentleman stopped at and pulled over. That's one thing I'm going to do tomorrow night when I have the night off, is I'm going to go through some of these videos and actually get some of these screenshots of some of these videos that we watched tonight, because there's a lot of good pictures that they showed of locations and such like that. So I'll definitely have those ready for when we talk about this on the next evening.
And is it in the road or on the side of the road?
In the road.
In the road.
Okay, so it was Sandy Run Road, and he was on Crocketville. So where Sandy Run Road meets Crocketville, that's where he stopped and pulled over and placed the 911 call.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. So what's your name and call that number?
My name is Ronnie Capers.
His name is
All right,
Ronnie?
Mr. Capers, can I get a phone number for you?
Let's see. I don't know the number off this phone, but you can call this number back. I was going to work.
Okay, but this is a good number to reach you back at.
So he was going to work.
Okay, all right. We'll get an officer headed out that way to see what's going on.
Okay, so he laid in the road. I ain't moving or nothing like that.
And he said he's laying out in the road. He didn't move him or nothing like that.
But Somebody going to hit him. It's dark.
And he said somebody's going to hit him.
Somebody going to hit him.
All right. We're getting
Somebody's
also
gonna
headed
hit
out
him.
that way.
Okay.
All right.
And basically saying he didn't touch him, he didn't move him. He just seen the body laying there, and he was calling in to report it because he was on his way to work. And this is the new schedule I have up. I'll be having Wednesday nights off instead of Mondays. And we started that this weekly. I had a great show last night on Monday. What a great show. I definitely can't wait to have you all again for the next episode. All right. Let me see. Let me just make sure. I think I covered everything so far that we could. What a great video from that little mini documentary that we watched. So much information in that amazing video. Let me just double check, see if there's anything else. If there's anything anybody would like to say, go ahead and let me know. Otherwise, let me see. I'm just going to double check. See if we got anything new. Let's see. Oh, something about Delphi. I need to have a Delphi night coming up. I was going to have it tonight, but we needed to get into this Buster Murdaugh, Stephen Smith case connection. There's a lot of other world topics that we'll get into as well, probably this weekend. So, yeah, I'm not really seeing nothing breaking. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and shut down this show. And yeah, thank you, Punksy. I appreciate it. I can't wait to help you out tomorrow. We'll hit each other up throughout the day, and we'll get linked up, and we'll go ahead and get you set up. I'm excited to help you out. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and shut the show down, and I'll probably be hopping back on shortly. Probably just play a little bit of pool or something. So if you have a Facebook account that's associated with your YouTube, go ahead and check out the Facebook game 8-Ball Pool. And it's got like a flame coming off the 8 ball. It's 8-Ball Pool. And here, actually, let me see here. I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like. And this is what it looks like. So if you ever want to play me in some 8-Ball Pool sometime, just have a Facebook account with your YouTube. And we can definitely shoot some pool sometime. I'm going to be checking that game out for a little bit tonight. I opened it up. I got to rank 5 now, where I'm actually able to have my own pool club. So we can have our own tournaments and stuff if you enjoy some 8-Ball Pool. All right, everybody. I want to thank Kib Kitty for hopping up and hanging out with me tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for hanging out, whether you're in the live or the replay. And if you have any other information you feel is pertaining to this topic that would be beneficial, please send it to me, whether it's on Twitter, Discord, or email. If you need my links, you can just go into the description of the video and just click on any one of them or copy any one of them and send me a message, and I'll definitely show it on the next show. I hope everybody has a peaceful and positive evening, and I'll see you a little bit on the pool tables. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for hopping in and hanging out.